Hey friends, Donovan Bankhead here with Springfield Music, here to talk to you today about an AR Resonance Feroce trumpet. AR Resonance is owned by Antonio Rapucciulio, who is an Italian trumpet maker and just a brilliant craftsman, and has built just some amazing, lovely instruments that I'm excited to get to share with you today. Springfield Music, I should mention, is a dealer for AR Resonance. We sell their mouthpieces and trumpets and all that stuff. So if you like one of those, you can certainly reach out to us at springfieldmusic.com. Okay, let's get into this real quick. Maybe not real quick. This is going to be lengthy. Well, who am I kidding here? All right, so let's get into this. So what I have for you today is the AR Resonance Feroce model. See if we can get in on that. There you go. And so this instrument is kind of similar to the Leggera that I did earlier. You may also find videos for that. But this is designed to be not quite as light, not quite as thin. It has a larger bell. And so this makes it a little more versatile. So the Leggera is designed, like, it's your lightweight, I'm playing lead trumpet 90% of the time, and I want a sound that I can relax, but that will just cut through the band. And that's what that instrument's for. This one is a little bit more versatile, okay? Still using a nickel bell, still using the nickel lead pipe, a little bit heavier gauge, and a little bit heavier, slightly heavier instrument, and different bell design. And we have an instrument that is much warmer and darker, really cool threaded lead pipe system, which I'll go over here in just a second. And still with like the maw valves, but a little more versatile instrument. So let's talk about a few of my favorite features with AR Resonance. So the first one, and all of their instruments will have this, but the threaded receiver is super cool. And what this does is allows you to take one of their threaded backboards. Their mouthpieces are two-piece mouthpieces, threaded top and backboard. Take one of the threaded backboards and thread it in, and essentially at that point, this is all really physically functions as one piece. That translates into efficiency transmitted through the bell. You have less lost energy here, so more energy goes to the bell, which, if you're like me and working to become as efficient of a player as possible, because if you're more efficient, you can play longer and can play higher and all those kinds of things, then the key to that is efficiency. And so if you can work less hard on this end for the same result on that end, that's a good thing. I would estimate this probably gives you about 10% more efficiency, 10% more endurance. That's been roughly my experience, at least. So really cool. And you can buy their backboards. You can buy them with different shapes and sizes. Like this happens to be a large backbore with the G2 gap, which is just the number 2 gap. And you can get other backboards, like this one here is a small backbore, G2 as well, that I use for like a lead setup, which I'll go over that later. But if you have a standard mouthpiece that you love, you get with this particular instrument, you get 5 of these adjustable gaps as well. They're numbered 1 through 5. They change the amount of gap you have between the end of the mouthpiece and the beginning of the lead pipe. And I'll do another video kind of going a little more in depth into that. But with this, you can now use any mouthpiece that you own. If you have a Monette, if you have a Lotus, if you've got a Warburton, Bach, whatever, you name it, Park mouthpiece, you can use anything you want with that. You don't have the same efficiency that you had before, but you still have this glorious instrument and everything else. So it's totally a good way to do that without a problem. So that is one of my favorite features for sure. The maw valve system is also really nice, and that's kind of the signature look for it, seeing that cutout. But essentially what that does is reduces resistance as you use extended valve combinations. Easy way to try that: play a low C, work your way down the valve combinations on your normal trumpet, pay attention to the resistance you feel to the air, and then do the same thing on this. You'll feel slightly less resistance. which then also translate into a slightly more consistent tone on the various valve combinations. So it's a cool feature that with that, Antonio makes all of these parts in-house. So he makes the water keys in-house. He makes all the slides and bells and everything. He makes all of that in-house. The other thing that I showed on the Leggera that I also love is with his bell. His bells are just gorgeous. And I know you look at this horn, you think like, oh, it looks like kind of a heavy horn. It's not any heavier than like a normal trumpet. So this is a Carroll brass. This is the Jeff Winstead model. Generally kind of considered a lightweight instrument. This trumpet, it actually weighs less than that. So it is not heavy, even with a big bell. But like the Leggera, when we tap that nickel bell, it just rings. And here's that Carroll brass. Again, and this is not meant as a dig towards Carroll brass. A good trumpet maker. Just no ring to the bell, really at all. Now, part of that's because they're using a wire rim and the bead, and there's a few other things. But a lot of it is just the material and this nickel, the way nickel just freaking rings. It's amazing. Okay, so this instrument, why do I love it? Well, I think this is for that jazz or commercial player that wants a top shelf, top flight horn, but needs some versatility, okay? I have personally used this horn because all of them that I've got, I've used them because I want to kind of see what they do. You know, how often do you get a $6,000, $7,000 trumpet to check out? But I've used it both in big band settings. I play in lead. I've used it in playing in a really great wind ensemble, and I've used it in a rock band, and it just kills in all of those settings. And the thing I love about it the most is that I can get great sounds in any of those ensembles without having to work very hard as a player. And it means if I don't work so hard, I can play better and play longer, which is always what I'm trying to do. So let me just show you a little bit of kind of general sounds here. I'm going to give you the trumpet player's caveat that I have not played much in the last month. So, you know, this is not a Trent Austin video where I'm going to be like, doing all kinds of cool shit. So this is just, you know, just so you get a sense of what this is like. So on this one, I'm using the large backbore, and I'm using my normal C cup top mouthpiece. So you can see overall, like, just a nice, even sound. It's not dark. It's not really bright. I mean, it's just a nice, even sound. It has brilliance to it, but it's not bright, okay? So, and now here is switching over using Antonio's lead cup and a smaller backbore. Smaller backbore just gives you a little bit more sizzle and support in the upper register, and with a shallow mouthpiece cup, generally helps to keep the intonation consistent. Bit of finger bobbles there, but you can hear like just the brilliance and how this instrument just cuts. Just a really, really a lot of like sizzle and brilliance to that. I'm not blowing very hard. I'm probably blowing about that hard, okay? So I'm not having to push, and that volume is loud enough to cut through any ensemble. If you need something louder than that, you're playing with a microphone. So that's plenty loud. And I'm not blowing that hard. I'm blowing maybe at 60, 70%, which is a cool thing to have. And again, I keep kind of referencing that because in my experience, if I work less hard on my end, I can last longer on this end. So anyway, rules to live by here. Yeah, thanks, bud. I know. I need to practice. You're not helping. My dog Sarge here to help me out, aren't you, buddy? Yeah. You want to say hi to the trumpet people? No. Okay, sure. Now you're shy. Not shy at all while I'm trying to make a trumpet video. Shy once I put the camera on. Everybody's a critic until they have to stand in front of the camera. So there you go, the AR Resonance Feroce model trumpet. Certainly one of my favorites in their lineup if you are a commercial player or needing an instrument that kind of do multiple jobs, sort of a double duty between, this needs to be your main instrument and you want to be able to sit and play in a wind ensemble or community ensemble, but then also play in a jazz combo or play lead or play in a rock band. This is the one instrument that does it all. Now, if most you're playing is more to like the classical side where a darker instrument might be more appropriate, there's probably some better choices, maybe like the Suprema, the Romantica might be a better choice. But if you're a commercial player and a player that needs that brilliant sound to cut through the ensembles you play in, this Feroce is an awesome choice. Available at Springfield Music. Reach out to us, springfieldmusic.com. Thanks.